Welcome back to Night in My City Unite. I have with me today a dear friend. I consider y'all family, your family. Donta Miller, which is Chief Donta Miller for Jefferson County. And I always name my shows, and I named it The Regulator. And you're going to explain to us about the Sheriff's Department. And we just want to shout out to Sheriff Zena for thank you for letting him come on Night in My City Unite. And we love you. But I'm excited to talk with you about the Sheriff Department and just about things that's going on in law enforcement. And so the regulator, let me just talk about why I said the regulator. A regulator is a person or a thing that regulates something. It controls or maintains a rate or a speed so things can operate properly. And honestly, I didn't know this until I went and did my research on the Sheriff Department, because people think they know what y'all do, but they don't. Literally, that's what you do for the whole county.
Right.
So just tell us, what is a sheriff?
Well, a sheriff is an elected position by the citizens of the county that they reside in. It's a constitutional spot. So she's the sheriff. I'm saying she because
ours are female.
We have a female sheriff, and she's responsible for operating the jail, enforcing law throughout the city and the counties within the jurisdiction. And also, she has livestock responsibilities in securing the waterways of Jefferson County. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a pretty busy operation when we have to put everything together, and so we stay pretty busy.
No, I see. Serving warrants, civil papers.
Narcotics.
Yes.
We investigate narcotics activity throughout the whole Jefferson County.
Yes.
And we serve warrants throughout the whole Jefferson County. We also conduct we do our own hiring. So, like for the sheriff's office.
Yeah.
A lot of people get confused that, hey, we work for the county, but actually we work directly for the sheriff. So she actually has her own human resource division that hire, and she can fire someone without going actually through the governing body of the commissioner's court. She answers to herself. Now, the commissioner's court constitute our budgets and things like that, but the sheriff is the final say for her budget and her employees and the activities that we do within Jefferson County.
Didn't know that. And then y'all work with the tax assessor as well?
So with the tax assessors,
because I looked that up.
we do. The tax assessors actually do our seizures.
Okay.
For as tax properties. So we have auctions. So we'll do a combined auction, and the tax assessor will run the auction, and we'll provide security and everything for it. We just had one last week. So
wow. And then y'all regulate the bails bondsmen in our county?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I like that.
And that all falls under the correction side of the sheriff.
So it's just different.
It's a busy tax collecting, and you assessing fees, accepting fees and everything that way.
Wow, so just different things overlap on each other.
And it takes a lot of people.
When I went on the Texas Sheriff website and just was reading, and even just I didn't know you all had to be certified and stuff and continue education. See, people don't understand that and know that.
And in the whole state of Texas, every peace officer, the law enforcement officer, you'll hear a lot of people say, better training. These officers need better training. And you wonder why they're talking about it in the federal and the state government level, because they assess what training we get every year. We have to do 40 hours. We're mandated by law to do 40 hours of continuing training every training cycle, which is a 2-year cycle.
Wow.
And so those 40 hours, they can tell us exactly what they want us to train in. They can say, hey, we want you to do your training in this. That's why you see people say, oh, they need more of this kind of training. So someone to try to build a class and try to make us, take that class. And that's statewide. So for the state of Texas. So what we do here in Jefferson County, they're doing the same thing in El Paso.
Okay, good.
So in Amarillo. So that's why you'll see them talk about the training that the state doesn't have. So where the sheriff's office come in, where we're unique here, we're big enough to have our own training facility.
Really? All right.
So she can say, okay, they want us to learn this class. We're going to learn this class, but we're going to also build this class for our local jurisdictions as well, which we do at times. So if we see a need this area need, we'll build a class and invite other agencies here to try to build up on whatever topics.
I like that y'all facilitate that
Yes.
for other. I like that, and working hand in hand. People see, because we don't know that. I wouldn't have known that. What do you think is the most important skill set for being a chief or a sheriff? Because it lapses, because you're really the right-hand man.
Yes. So in her absence, I'm in charge of the law enforcement side. We have a chief of corrections and a chief of law enforcement. But whenever, for the most part, my area of responsibility is I'm overseeing and planning, and we talk every single day. And so we discuss future plans and where we are every day. So for me, I have 7 captains, a major and 7 captains that's we call administration. I'm the admin staff. And so I give direction to these guys, I would say weekly, on different ideas and different ways, but I let them come up with a lot of ideas. I just try to keep everything together in a way that the sheriff would like to see.
Yes.
So if someone come to me and they say, oh, I want to get rid of this person or something like that, I'm more or less saying, hey, let's document how are we helping this person before we get rid of this person.
I like that.
And that communication line is open, because it's important in law enforcement. Whenever a person get down, it's not good to beat a person down. It's our job to build a person up, because the community pay us to protect them. And if we can't protect the people and train the people properly within our ranks, we're not protecting the people in the community like we should.
That's good. So, what do you hope to accomplish during your time as chief? When did you accept this position? Or
In May. Everything's been going like Mach speed in my life right now. We go back to May, I'm like, whoa, when did this start? But first of all, I'm 38 years old. That's the biggest question everybody sit back and want to ask me. I'm throwing it out there. I'm 38 years old.
See, I know you already, so.
Yeah, and I started this when I was 18 years old. Never in a million years would I have thought that I would be a chief deputy. I've dreamed, I've sat and I've seen, people in positions when I came, because I've always worked in county law enforcement under a sheriff. And so, graduating high school, I graduated from a small community. I went and worked at that local jail, which was a smaller jail. And that's where I said, I want to do this career of law enforcement, But then you didn't see very many minorities into law enforcement. So I really never thought in a million years that I would ever reach the status of a chief deputy. I know I'll be a good deputy, and I didn't know how long that would run, but I never seen it this part. So as time went on, what's unique about my generation, we've seen changes going in the world. So I've been able to adapt to the changes that's going on throughout this country, throughout this state, throughout this county, adapting to what the community need. And I think that's important in law enforcement. So as a deputy, when I made deputy status, I started paying attention to things. And great mentors. I've had great mentors in my life. Started paying attention to things, what's going on around me. So I would attend events like, for something as small as going to a school. Growing up, I knew of a DARE teacher who told us just not to say no to drugs, which that's what our generation came up.
That's right.
But DARE died off. So we lost the connection to the schools, to law enforcement, because schools started getting their own police departments. And it became more like a criminal enforcement in schools instead of saying, hey, I'm building a connection. So I've always held close to my heart that I will always build a connection wherever I go. So as I came up through the ranks as a deputy and as a sergeant and as a lieutenant, I've always kept that in mindset, the connection I have to keep with the community. And whether it's training a person the proper way how to be a cop, or carrying myself in a certain way away from my job, I've always took pride in that. And I think as a chief, and even any administrator, as a cop, you should hold that dear that you work for the community. So you want to be that person that continue to build relationships and figure out where the world is now and give society the type of policing they want to see in your community.
I like that. I like that you're looking at relevant. You want to be relevant.
Very
and
relevant,
where
yes.
the world is and not lagging 5-6 years.
Right.
What legacy would you like to leave behind for the next generation of law enforcement officers?
Well, I would like them to know that when I came into law enforcement, divorce rate is really high. You have a high divorce rate. You have and generally we work a lot. Cops work a lot, and we work late, and we work days, nights, and it's crazy hours, crazy shift work. I got married whenever I came into law enforcement, and I'm still married to this day.
Yeah.
And so it's okay to raise a family, to be a good man, raise a family, and continue to be a honest person in this community. And so whenever we going through your career, leave something behind, leave something positive behind. And so the legacy I would like, whenever I go into a room and there's a lot of people, before I leave that room, I want to touch everybody in that room and shake their hand, introduce myself.
Yeah.
Because I want to give them a connection to me and let them know who I am and where I work. So the legacy I would like for other cops to take on is don't be a stranger to the community you serve.
That's good.
When you walk into a room, be open to this room. We work for you.
Yeah.
So this person should be able to approach me. Hey, this problem is going on. What you think about this? Not that everything makes sense, but I work for you.
Yeah.
And so I would like to leave the legacy of, hey, we're here for everyone. No matter what color you are, no matter what your age, you're not ever too old, not ever too young, to come to me and approach me and be very approachable to the community.
Well, since you've been with Jefferson County and the Sheriff Department, can you evaluate just for us the recent performance of the Sheriff Department? What you would keep, what you would change, just some different things for our area, so if other people hear about it or watching, they can say, oh, well, I know they're trying to do something.
Yeah, for us, mental health right now is a big topic. Whenever mental health first surfaced out there, everybody was saying, oh, they just saying that because, that person, we was coming out of a time of war. We've been in Afghanistan, we've been in Iraq. And so, but we never really had made sense of when these people come home. And it was easy to target a soldier, or he's been in Iraq, or he's been in Afghanistan. But what we have now, we have designer drugs, which is creating another issue for us and creating another mental health situation. Our homeless rate is probably high as it ever been around here. We've all see it, and we seem to, I think, want to ignore it at times. But because that's the easy thing for us to do is just to keep going. But I think it's becoming our duty and our obligation to tackle mental health and to try to find a better solution other than jail for these people.
Yes.
Because I'll give you an example. A criminal trespass is a misdemeanor offense. You take a guy who's not supposed to be on someone's property, do a trespass warrant on this guy, and this guy's off his medication, he's really not in his right mind, and you take this person to jail. This person sits in jail for 3, 4, 5 days. Yeah. And the way we have an accusation system. They get off the accusation and they back out on the streets. Yeah. And it's a revolving cycle. And no one's ever helped this person. So one great thing that the sheriff is partnering with MHMR that she came in, that she's created a mental health division.
Wow.
We have 3 full-time deputies. And what these deputies are responsible for, they set up a psychological screening for these people. And once they go through that screening, it's determined that this person is on medication. These deputies actually go and follow up with these individuals to make sure they're still taking their medication, to make sure they don't need to refill or need a ride to the doctor. And that's where I think we need to start putting some resources in, but I don't think it need to be resources that's non-law enforcement. I think we need to be training up a divisional, just like I mentioned, narcotics training, Marine division. That's another revenue, I think, as a responsibility of the sheriff and other elected officials to tackle. Yeah,
I like that. What if we're a citizen, how can we help the sheriff department?
Like I brought up, like the mental health thing. If you know you have a person coming onto your property And it's your right. It's your property. I'm not trying to say that you can't issue trespassing warnings. Be understanding.
Yeah.
If we want to try to take this route of, hey, let me provide mental assistance for this guy, allow us to see if this will work, because it's revolving.
Yeah.
We got to come to change. Jail is not for everyone. Police officers carry guns. Yes, we carry guns. So do all the other citizens in Texas, I would think.
Yeah.
But the citizens have to understand that everybody's not going to jail. And it's not it's what you seen. You might be upset about a situation, and I might come here and I might just talk to that guy. I might call someone else over to take that guy away, non-police officer. Just be reasonable and understand that we're doing something. And it might not be what you want us to do, but we're trying to do something different and where it's better for the whole community.
I like that. Now let's just shift and talk about, as you said earlier, you never saw when you were younger a chief, a black chief. So you never had that point of reference.
Right.
Have you experienced racism as a black man in law enforcement sector?
Oh, yes. It's been, you sit back and you think about living in the times, we're okay with life. When you step outside of your times or where you've been, you look back and you're just like, wow, it's pretty bad. I can't believe that was in the 2000s, and people were telling me that's all I need is one black officer for this position.
Wow.
And these coming from people who I looked up to, and I'm not trying to say these people were bad. I just think we got caught up in a in a system that it was okay to say those things, or to say, I just need one black guy. We don't need any other black guys. Or this group over here have all the black people, Or you turn around and you get promoted, You get promoted to a position. You work hard. I sit and explain. I've been doing this job for 20 years.
Yes.
And I get into a certain spot, and as a chief role, and papers are delivered that, hey, you're being sued because you promoted this guy. You didn't promote this guy because he was a good person. He was out in the community. He was doing this thing. He was, building relationships, and you promoted him because he was black. And they said, well, I'm not being racist. I'm just telling he got promoted when he was black. But then you take a back seat and say, well, I talked to that same guy. And that same guy once told me if he ever made chief, he would bring me in, and then he would promote me up through the ranks because I was a good person for what that community needed. But this person that was telling me that was white.
Yeah.
So if this person can do that, Sheriff Stevens couldn't do that because I'm a black man.
Yeah.
And perception of it. Now, people have their own views and opinions about it, but I get up every day. My mom raised 5 boys and 2 stepbrothers. And we knew growing up that we didn't have everything. She worked hard for us. We knew we didn't have everything. I was diagnosed with dyslexia when I was in the 8th grade. I couldn't pass nothing up until the 8th grade. Everything was so hard to me. And it was a white teacher that identified that problem with me.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't identify why I couldn't pass, why nothing. So learning has always was a struggle for me up until when I started realizing that, hey, this is my issue, this is how I deal with it, and it's doable now.
Yeah.
And so whenever I promoted, first time I met a person of color in authority was Sheriff Stevens. Whenever I came to work at Jefferson County, and at the time she had just been promoted to chief. And so that was my first time experience working with a person in authority who was an African American. And so we built a bun right off. No, she was so strict on me. And it was like, oh my goodness. but because I took a sergeant's test. Yeah. And I was still afraid of taking tests because I knew my issue. And so whenever I took that test, I didn't score very high on that test. That was my first sergeant test. But I didn't study the way that I was taught to study. And so she called me in her office. She said, hey, if you're going to waste everybody's time, don't do it. you know, but that's how she was from. Some people don't like that approach from people, but that's how she just straight up.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. I was like, wow, that's pretty harsh, but all right, you know. And so then the next sergeant test came back around, and I geared down and I studied the way I was taught, and I scored number 1. I was like, maybe I do got little brains up here, you know. Maybe I can do this.
Yeah.
A couple years later, I take the lieutenant's test, and I come out number 1 on the lieutenant's test. Well, she had already left and been a chief, went to be chief of a different location. And so when I scored number 1, they brought me back into patrol. I was furious at this point in my career. I was just so upset at this point because I felt like patrol was beneath me. Yeah. And patrol is this was the best thing that could have ever happened to my career.
Wow.
Because for one, I now at the time it's a white chief now, and Sheriff Woods was great. He was a good sheriff for this, you know. He was good to us. You know, he took care of me too. But I didn't have this person to look up to anymore because this person was already gone. So I had to learn. I didn't have to learn. I had to start remembering what I was taught during this time of my career. So I'm like, okay, now what? I'm stuck on graveyard patrol. I felt like I was a good officer. What can I do to better myself? So I enrolled in college. And I was like, this is gonna be hard. You know, this is gonna be tough. But 3 years later, I graduate in honors, and now the Sheriff Stevens, the one sheriff in the midst of this, and I'm like, whoa. So I get a promotion to the major spot. And I'm proud. This is just not for me because I have kids. I have a son and a daughter now who saw this. I have nieces and nephews who saw this. And out of all my mom's kids, none of us had went to college and finished college. My mom, you know, she didn't even do it. And my dad didn't do it. So we didn't know this beyond what we knew. No. We were good people, but we didn't have the educational support. Yeah. And so when I get up to major, this is proud moments for my mom. This is proud moments for my brothers and my nieces and nephews and my kids. These are proud moments. Yeah. And for someone to come and just rip that from you. Yeah. And say, hey, my kid could do that. My kid can go to college. And I can brag to all you guys about my kid. And when my kid finish college and my kid get these accomplishments, I'm going to bring this back to y'all and I'm going to show y'all all this what my kid done. But he only done that because he was my kid, and he done that was because my kid. But you done that, and you got what you got because you was black. So you're telling me all these papers I've written, all these leadership courses I'm taking, all these paying attention to this community that I'm doing, meant nothing. Yeah, my skin color. But just 5 years ago, we was kicking in doors together. Yeah, and you was proud to say I was your friend. And you was proud to walk around and say, oh, this is Donta Miller. But now all of a sudden, you're not proud of Donta Miller anymore because Donta Miller has passed you of our careers. Wow. And so when you sit back and that's the hurtful part about law enforcement. Yeah. It's okay to boost other people up. It's okay. It's okay for us to accept a white guy or a female, gay, straight, whatever, because we work for the community.
We work for the community.
Give this community the type of policing they want to see. Yeah. I was in a store last night, and this little white kid, the white girl, she said, excuse me, sir, thank you for taking your time out to protect us. This is a 6-year-old kid, 7-year-old kid, a white kid, telling me this. But just as comfortable as this 6 or 7-year-old white kid is coming up to me, I want a Hispanic kid to be that comfortable. Yeah. I want a black kid to be that comfortable. Yeah. I don't care, because we work for them. Yes. And as they grow, we don't need anyone saying, oh, you see that guy right there? He's only in that position because he's black. That's right. That's not right. That's not right. So I turned around and said, okay, I'm going to go back to school and get my master's degree. And now I'll be graduating my master's next Friday. Yay! And I'm saying, okay, I'm going to keep showing you. I'm going to keep going. I'm not going to let people bring me down into the dumps. Because is racism in law enforcement? Yes, it's still racism out here. Do we got some good white guys that work in law enforcement? We have some of the most excellent white guys that work in law enforcement. We have some of the most caring white guys that work in law enforcement. Hispanic guys, black guys. But do we have some of those guys who we have to keep an eye on? Yes. And that's the character. And that's why you put people with good character and people with good hearts in admin and administration roles, because we can identify that.
Yeah. I like what you say, the heart, because it's all about the matter of the heart.
It's all about the matter of the heart.
So you're experiencing it at work, and then as just a black male or African American.
And it's tough
male.
because you and I can relate. But whenever you're talking to your white friends, or they don't really 100%. They can't. They can't. I'm telling you, it's just
Yeah.
It's something that you know. Now, do I walk around looking, oh man, that was racist. Oh man, that was racist. Oh man, why would you say something like that? No, it's wrong to be that way. If you're looking that way, oh, that's about black and white. No, but some things are.
Some things are.
And some things are. So as a man away from here, I have a son. One of my biggest fears is my son come across law enforcement in a negative way. Now, people say, pull over, look straight, put your hands on the steering wheel, nothing would never happen. Will it? We're sure about that.
Yeah.
Was this truck my son driving just describing a robbery?
Yeah.
You don't know. I don't know. Was my son's description just matched someone just left in a robbery? I don't know. But this officer could know that. So when this officer approached this truck for my son driving, and my son is not an angel. I mean, he's a boy.
Yeah.
What then? My biggest fear.
Yeah.
My biggest fear is to get a phone call. And my son, and I tell you, my son is 20 years old. And I still stay up at night when he's not home.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because I believe that's more cultural than it is with a lot of other different families, because my parents still stay up and will stay up or call. My nephew will call me. And he's 13.
Yes.
But they never would go to bed. My dad would never go to bed because we would have to have the talk. And they would, and I know some people are saying, what's the talk? But we'd have to have the talk of if the policeman pull you over, as you're saying, put your hand on the wheel, just be polite. You're just trying to make it home.
We could take care of that other stuff another day.
Yeah,
if
we
he
can
talk to you wrong. I can help that.
Yeah, and even if we can't take care of it another day, because sometimes it'll never get taken care of.
Yes.
Just submit.
Yes.
Because we want you to stay alive and come home.
Please, just come home.
And so that's why I want people that's watching it to understand you're concerned about your son. Is culturally we have been taught because of what has happened, with George Floyd. And I can go on with names and names and names that we really have to be careful when law enforcement stop us. So we were at a family function, and I have a lot of family members that's in law enforcement, and it is a habit, to say, that police officer is going to get you.
Yes.
And he was like, please telling them, like, don't make kids afraid of us.
Right. And people call all the time, say, hey, do y'all have that Scared Straight program? I want to scare my kid.
And that was...
People, you cannot scare your kids into doing right.
That's right.
You can't. I am a police officer. I'm telling you. My son lived in my house, and I guarantee you my son has experienced what most average 20-year-olds have experienced in this world today. And I still love my son, and I'm still there for my son, and I will never turn my back on my child. But everybody don't understand that.
Yeah.
When your son is uncomfortable to coming around because he realizes that, hey, I can't go around there because of the color of my skin.
Yeah.
That's fearful.
Yeah.
That's fearful for your child to recognize that.
Yeah. Or I can't wear this type of clothes.
Yes.
My hair can't be in locks or braids. Or I can't do this. Or I can't be there.
I can't walk this way.
Yeah.
I can't talk this way.
Yeah.
Now, my son has a kid, so I'm a grandfather. Tay-Tay.
Yay.
She call me Tay. And he has a biracial kid. And the family that he had the kid for, I was really nervous at first because I'm thinking like, oh, they gonna really hate my son for this, and they gonna really, because I'm gonna be mad, like, you know, because their daughter, that she was young too. But the love that they showed to him is, I can't even explain it. And I had to tell my wife, I was like, I'm glad they love my son the way that they do. Even if they're not dating, they still love him.
Yeah.
And they respect him. And I'm like, that's how this world has to be.
Yeah.
We just got to keep going with life and going with life together.
And love.
And love.
And that's the key. We can talk about racism and lack on the law enforcement or off. And I want to stay there just a little bit, but I also want to talk about from the last 2 years, 2.5 years probably, the defunding the police thing.
So,
because I know we've talked
totally
about it.
Against it.
We talked about this before.
Throw it away.
Defunding the police, because earlier you were saying, just like give us more money so we can do this, or we can implement this, or we can help hire more law enforcement to change the ratios in the prisons and in the jails. So let's talk about the funding and defunding.
Funding. Give us more money. No. But defunding police is a catchy phrase. I think the media run with stuff and go out, hey, let's defund the police. And you either look at this news station or you look at this news station, and you can tell all about 5 minutes what news station someone look at. I'm thinking, like, hey, pick up a book and let's learn something, and then instead of us quit watching.
When you talk, you can tell exactly what news station.
It's like, I know where you got that from because I saw that same thing, but I saw this too, so I know what you got that from. But whenever people talk about defund, I brought up the mental health way of, I'm a reform type of guy. Reform and create.
Yeah.
And reform, and it's 2021, almost 22, we had a great year.
Yeah.
We know things are costing more money. So how can we defund something and get better? They've raised our taxes.
Yeah.
They've raised the price of gas.
Yeah.
We've raised how much a gallon of milk costs.
Yeah.
And you're talking about taking money from a group of guys who protect you, who really generally try to come and protect you every day. How about instead of talking about taking money, let's give them money into a program that best fit that area.
Yeah.
That's best fit the area. Now, it's been people who grew up probably a lot worse than you and I, or people that have opportunities, a lot fewer opportunities that you and I had.
Yeah.
And I understand that too. And I tell people all the time when they want to ask me about the black community or something like that, I'm easy to talk to. Talk to me, you're going to sit and get my opinion. I'm going to give you probably some educated opinion because, you know, I'm sitting in my element. I'm in this room with you. I can communicate with you.
Yes.
You know, not trying to sound racist.
No.
But let's get in the car. Let's go into the north end of town here.
Let's go. Yeah.
Let's get out on the corner with some of these people who don't have the same opportunity or didn't get the same chances that I had. And ask them, how can I help you? What can I do different?
Yeah.
Every Monday, I go to the juvenile facility. Every Monday. And at first, and this is the type of stuff the sheriff introduces me to. At first, I was like, dang, sheriff, gotta do something else. I'm going to a juvenile facility every month. I put that on my calendar. And when I first went, I seen these little boys in there. They're African-American boys, they're white kids, they're Mexican kids. It's all, I mean, we got a serious issue when it comes to our juvenile.
Yeah.
And I went in there, and I realized these kids that were in trouble was teaching me something. And I was like, whoa, how can I learn something from a 14-year-old kid? I had to try to figure out what made this kid get to where he's at 14.
That's right.
10.
Yeah.
11.
Young.
Love. This kid was I'm not saying they wasn't loved by their family, but they wasn't loved by the world. People love by children. I met your niece, your nephew that loved him right off the bat.
Yeah.
But do I love every kid the way I loved your nephew? I can say I love my kids, my nieces and nephews.
That's
but
good.
I didn't meet your nephew before that day. And I completely, I love this kid, gave him advice.
Yeah.
So now I catch myself doing that to every kid now.
Yeah.
Because it's important. That might be the only love that this kid gets.
Yeah. Yeah, because it starts.
It starts.
It starts there.
Yes. Yes.
Because when you said juvenile, you went to the juvenile facility. I worked 16 and a half years before coming to one city at Buckner's Children's Village.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so when you say 8, I'm saying all the way down.
So you see it even more.
So
yes.
from birth on up.
Right.
Like you said, the world did not embrace, or the environment just did not have what it need to give.
Right.
As you say, let me take you across to another side of town that don't have what you have. And you can learn from them.
Yes, you learn a lot.
You learn a whole lot.
But you know what? And I'm not saying it to look at them different, because
No.
they're okay.
No.
Trust me.
No, they're good.
They're good. They're
Yeah.
perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But you can't look down on them.
No.
But you can learn a lot
Yeah.
from them.
Yeah.
You can learn, okay, every time y'all come to my house, y'all make my son get on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Yeah.
This is my son. I love my son.
Yeah.
So every time you make him get on the ground, I'm going to talk noise to you guys.
Yeah.
How about set him down on the front porch?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, or a kid come in and say, well, every time officers walk in the store, they never speak to me.
Yeah.
They want me to speak to them. Like I told that little kid today,
Yeah.
they want me to speak to them, but they don't want to speak to me. As officers, that's my job as a chief,
Yeah.
to make sure I'm putting this out there.
Yeah.
To make sure that
You're listening?
I'm listening,
Mm-hmm.
giving the community. Because guess what that 14-year-old is going to be in 5 years?
Yes.
It's going to be a 19-year-old kid.
Yeah.
The same place I was when I started law enforcement.
That's right. Yeah.
Where's it
You
gonna be?
never know.
You never
never
know.
know. You never know. Have you experienced any just hardship with the police department when you were younger?
Yes, yes, and that's why I think when I connected with those kids, I understand what they were talking about.
Yeah.
My brother and I, we was about seniors in high school. We were from small town, like I said. Our hangout spot was McDonald's. McDonald's is on the corner of town, right? And so, me, my brother, and one of my friends, we were sitting at McDonald's. We were just sitting there probably eating or something. I don't know what we was doing, but I know what we wasn't doing. We wasn't sitting there cussing. We wasn't sitting there being rude. We were just sitting there chilling, what we call it at the time. They probably call it something else different today. And so we see this officer pull up. This is driving a deputy sheriff's office car. See him pull up. He walking McDonald's, and remember, I'm intrigued by. I get excited when I see, still to this day, see a police car. I'm like, oh, cool, look, it's police. This guy gets back in his car, pulls up right behind us. He let his window down, and I'm like, oh, he's about to talk to us. So I walk over there, and he cussing. He get your blanket blank away from here. Get on the ground. Put us all on the ground. This is my experience. Now you're taking a kid who have a big heart for law enforcement at 17 years old, and all of us on the ground. He gets out of his car, he cusses us, and he tells us what we doing out there cussing. My mom would have beat me down if she heard I was cussing. I was so scared of that, I didn't even go home and tell my mom that had happened to us. We get in the car, and they're all like, oh, you gonna be one of them kids, these are my friends. But a couple years later, he had to see me. He comes in there and come to shake my hand and everything and introduce himself or whatnot. And I said, man, I remember you. Tell him I remember you. But he didn't seem to recall that incident. He didn't seem to recall that incident. But he didn't last in law enforcement long because his character was quickly identified as being that type of person.
Wow.
So his character got him.
Yeah.
I went through that with a positive, hardworking mom at home.
Yeah.
And just think, if I didn't have that at home, that could have scarred me for life.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be sitting right here having this
we
conversation.
wouldn't. No.
Could have scarred me for life.
Wow.
And my brother, he's a police officer.
Yes.
And the friend that was with me, he's a captain. He's a captain fireman. So we all made it out okay, but we come from a different background.
Yeah, yeah. I like that story that you just told because it also can help the kids at the detention center.
Yes.
To understand that even though it's some good and it's some bad in everything.
Right.
But it's going to be how you respond to it.
And we have to respond with it with a better way versus than saying, let's fight against it. Not fight with your brain, fight physical.
Yes.
It's not okay to burn buildings, and it's not okay to, and people say, oh, that's the only way we're going to get somebody's going to listen to us. Well, is it?
Yeah.
We have hurricanes, and they take years to rebuild cities.
Yeah.
And it takes years for economies to bounce back.
Yeah.
Those things don't help.
They don't help.
They don't help.
It hinders.
Yes. But solitary coming together, black and white, and like-minded people who's going to stand for wrong, they can really make change in this world.
So let's talk about Donta the man outside. What would you like the community to know about you? Because I know you because of church. And
Donta the man is a very uplifting person within his own unique circle.
Yeah.
I tell my son all the time, I say, hey, because he'll be like, Daddy, you just didn't have a bunch of friends hanging out growing up. And I say, I done it on purpose because I don't want to corrupt your mind with some other people's beliefs.
Yeah.
So Donta, this man, has a very small circle of people that I deal with. Is it tough at times? Yes. I have a very, very tough life at times. Taking this promotion, and then I took this promotion. I had a grandbaby hit the ground. I'm in college.
Yeah.
And, I got to take care of my wife, who's a diva.
Yes,
And,
love her. Hi, Regina.
But all of these things, I still had to balance.
Yeah.
I had to deal with a relationship, building a better relationship with my dad. I had to build a better relationship with my mom. All of my siblings, I had to find to where I can love them equally all together. Because I have my brother I'm talking about is my twin brother, so he's the easy one to love. Yeah. I mean, we see each other, we talk to each other every day. And my oldest brother I talk to every day because he's just 2 years older than us. But I had to find how to love each of my siblings the same.
Yeah.
So my circle for friends, I'm still working on.
Yeah.
That's a part of my life that I still have to work on because I'm really caught. Now that my son is older, he's going on to do his friend thing, and so he's kind of getting away from him.
Yeah.
My daughter Zoe, she's in dance and tiger, so she's building her own group of friends.
Yeah.
I started my family when I was 19, 20 years old, but this is all I've known. So now I'm this man, and I'm standing over here, and I'm saying, Lord, what is next? Because my best friend is my wife.
Yeah.
I realize that. But what is next?
Yeah.
What can I do to make Donta a good man? Or when this person see Donta's heart.
Yeah.
One of my biggest challenges in life is to be a failure to people. I don't like the stigma of people when somebody have something that, like, they don't like me for something.
Yeah.
And people doing this position,
Oh, yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
I get it. I have to make decisions, and we have to separate from people. But some people hold that to their heart.
Yeah.
And that bothers me at times. It bothers me at times when someone don't like me at times. But I had to learn how to deal with that as a man outside of law enforcement because I see these same people I see at work, stay away from work.
Yeah.
We go to the same barbershops.
Yeah.
We go to the same, grocery stores.
Yeah.
As a man, I had to learn how to deal with that better. As an younger person, when I got into law enforcement, I didn't know how to deal with that. I cut people off and just not even talk to them.
Yeah.
But as a man, now, today, if I can go back to my 19, 20-year-old
Yeah.
and change that side of me of cutting people off,
Yeah.
because people just have bad days.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And don't completely cut people off. And I really focus on friendship. And I try not to be, consciously try not to be friends. And when I say friends, I'm talking about graduations, weddings, with officers that I work with, because you'll build a relationship with them that you can't control at work.
Yeah.
So as a man, you'll see my best friend. I got a best white friend and a best black friend. I call them my best friends. These guys know everything about me. And none of them is in law enforcement. One of them works in the oil fields, and one of them works in the refinery. Yeah. And them are my guys away from work.
Yeah.
And then I have my wife, obvious, who just know everything about me. And then my twin brother, who's probably the only cop that I can call my wholeheartedly friend. My mentors that I had in law enforcement, I check on them, but that's what it is. It's a mentorship. It's a mentorship. And they give me guidance, and they give me great advice. And I think every man needs a mentor away from their father. And as a dad to my son, because he's my stepson, but I've been there for him his whole life.
Yeah.
That was a hard thing for me. So I'm still like, I wonder if he got a mentor. Because when I found my mentor, I didn't go, "Hey, Dad, I got a mentor. You don't have to tell me anything anymore."
Yeah.
Or, "Mama, this lady telling me some good stuff about being a good wife." As a person, you got to find that person who can give you great advice.
Yeah, that what your parents can't
tell you that you don't feel comfortable talking to.
Yeah, now, and sometimes your parents not qualified to take you to the level that the mentor can take you to.
Not degrading their love.
No, nothing against.
And that's what I struggle at in my life with my son and with my daughter, because I'm like, "All right, tell me about your boyfriend." How's it, he can't dress like this, but it might be her. I can't control that. But as a father, you want to control all those things. Or my son, "No, you can't hang around with him, son. I don't say that to him, son. I don't walk like that, son. When you walk in the room." But I need him to be able to find his people. Yes. To be able to say, "Hey, son, this is how you gonna make it in your life." Yeah. Somebody he can relate to, and not be scared that he's not gonna love me anymore. Yeah. Yep, that's good. But what God will give you confirmation at, 2 days ago, he sent me a text, and I'm tearing up because I'm like, he still love me. He said, "Love you, Daddy, and I appreciate you." And I'm like, here it is. I just got on to you for something, and you telling me you love me. Yeah. And I'm like, "Man, I'm your cheerleader. I'm in your corner. Anything you need, I'm there for you." Yeah. And because it's hard. Yeah, it is. It's hard. It's hard to know one day he's gonna have to deal with that issue. That issue. It's especially because you are that issue. You are that issue. And I've seen that issue. And you've seen that issue. You work a part of that issue. And you just don't want to see that side of that. No, because that issue hurts. It hurts. I understand when you're saying that, because we've all, me and you have experienced, but I love, Not in My City is about connecting and supporting law enforcement. And so with people that have been through that experience like we have, that just have a twist view that couldn't overcome it. Right. What would you say to them? Give us a chance. Like I mentioned, it's 2021, we're going to 22. We still fight battles within law enforcement as being minorities within law enforcement. Yeah. But law enforcement they have went a notch up. With all of the attention in the past, people are paying attention now. Oh, yeah. And not only is people paying attention, people want to see good things happen to people now. I honestly believe that. Now, do I think racism still exists? Yes, it does. Do I think it's going anywhere anytime soon? No. But I think more people are aware of what's going on. And as me, and I can speak for the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, I pay attention to if officers, deputies, we have a duty to. The sheriff has a thing where supervisors have to come in and put, review so many videos. You know, we come in and randomly check videos.
That's good.
All of us do.
Yeah.
Because what's good is having equipment if you're not reviewing it.
The cam.
You know, only time you review your cameras when someone complains, that's not good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because someone can have an incident like you did, and that never go. It never, no one ever notices it. It just go through the system, and you just get lost in the system.
Yeah.
Give us a chance. And if you are a victim of that, and you 100% are right, bring it to our attention.
Yeah.
And we will investigate it. And that's what is required at the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. I could speak the same for other agencies. They have people in place to review that and to do that. But I can't say they do it exactly like we do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that they don't, but I'm just saying I know what we do and what's required of me. Because one thing I realize, even though I'm the chief deputy of law enforcement, I have a boss.
Yeah.
And I have a boss who pay attention to life. And she's a strong individual because she has to deal with being a mother.
Yes.
She has to deal with, I mean, it's no secret. She got indicted based off of some other stuff.
Yeah.
But she deals with that.
Yeah.
But yet she still comes to work wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Doing things right for the community. And change is not always good for some people. Because some people are going to have to change and be a cop in year 2022 the right way.
Yeah, I agree.
But give us a chance. Give us a chance.
As we winding down, is there anything else you want to share with us about what you have been through with racism, personally or professionally?
Yeah. As a African American, 1 out of every 5 African Americans will go to jail. It's a 1 out of every, you know. So, you know, me and my brothers count us, and it happened. We, as a society, have got to quit using jail as our answer to solve our issues. When we take a man out of a house, of a family dwelling, we create a cycle of life. And we create a cycle of life that can't get better for the next generation. As a black man, we, as a black generation, my generation, have got to do better with staying focused on doing the right things.
Yeah.
Whether you're making your living the legal way, illegal way, educated, not educated, it's opportunities out here for us to go get. We got black entrepreneurs that will give great chances. We got white entrepreneurs that's paying attention and will give chances to people. We got Hispanic entrepreneurs that's doing this. But we have got to start taking advantage of the opportunities that's given to us the right way.
Yeah.
Racism has no play, can't have any play in no one's lives, especially if you work for a government entity. If you work for the public, that homeless guy that I talked about that we pass on the streets every day, you work for him.
Yeah.
And you say he don't pay taxes? Well, let me explain to you how he pay taxes. He sit on the corner on a Sunday afternoon. He probably get a lot of money. He'll leave that corner, and he's going to go buy something.
Yes.
Whatever he's buying is going to have a tax to it. That guy pays your salary. I get paid from tax dollars. Public servants, government employees, got to get to the point to understand if we're going to take money from this community, we got to do right by this community. And if we're going to be about change, honestly be about change. For me, I like to worship. I like to praise and worship. That's my thing. I get it myself, and I boom. And I can't do it anytime. That's the crazy thing, because during Thanksgiving, my mother-in-law tried to get me to come sing some gospel songs with her. That's something I take very sacred to myself. When I get in that element, I'm in that element. I'm in it. It's just a feeling that I can't feel. Everyone needs to find that about themselves. What makes you do right?
That's good.
What makes you do right?
That's good.
Like I talk about those 3 juvenile kids. I asked them that question. I asked every police academy that I talked to, I asked them, what do a racist person look like? What do a thug look like? And what do what you think is an illegal? Who you think is an illegal? Every police academy that answered that question wrong. For the last 10 years, I've been asking that question. 2 weeks ago, one person answered that question right. A 14-year-old in Minnie Rogers, who's in trouble, answered that question right. He said, all people can be racist. All people can be thugs.
That's right.
And all people can be illegal because we don't know where they come from.
That's right.
One person, a 14-year-old.
That give you hope.
That give me hope. Now, if we can only stop that, and maybe we can go.
Yeah.
But that's the generation we're going into.
Yeah.
And so now I know I got to start revolving. Because this generation that's coming up, they ain't got time to be worried about all this racism stuff that we worried about.
No.
They just trying to get it.
They just trying to get it.
So continue to provide opportunities. For me as a law enforcement, I'm going to continue to provide opportunities for people. We're hiring now, hiring in our correctional facility. Great place to start law enforcement. Give me a holler, and our Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, I can set up a tour for you.
Yeah.
We're looking for great people to come work. And if you want to get into this career, it open up doors for you. Open up doors. Find you a good church home.
Yeah.
Who instill the word in you. Find you someone who's not afraid to tell you the truth.
That's right.
About yourself. And be willing to accept the truth about yourself. That's what's going to change this world.
Well, we loved having you here, and I love everything that you're saying, and I really love the intimacy that you given to us for law enforcement, and that's what I want everyone to take away from this is love and also uniting.
Yes.
And submitting and being humble.
Yes.
So, Chief Miller, thank you for spending time with us here on Not in My City Unite. I want to invite you back again, and we'll discuss some other relevant topics. And I want to thank everyone for joining us. But before you go, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Not in My City Unite. Click the reminder bell so it can tell you when we have a new episodes. And those that are watching us on any network channels, thank you for joining us. And we'll see you next time on Not in My City Unite.